Viens la voiture. Viens la voiture. Viens la voiture. Viens la voiture.
Parce que ça c'est pas arrivé d'un coup. Ça, c'est arrivé.
C'est vrai qu'il avait annoncé, mais on ne croyait pas qu'il vienne d'un coup comme ça en surprise. Voilà. Et on a un camion ici, de la valeur de 3 000 €. On ne peut rien faire. Les pompiers ne peuvent pas le sortir parce qu'il y a un risque. Voilà, on a perdu le camion. Mais bon, tant pis. Il vaut mieux que ce soit le matériel que l'être humain.
Tempers running high in Pakistan after reports about an alleged rape on a Lahore City College campus went viral on social media. Massive protests broke out in 4 cities of the country. The protests have taken a violent turn, with furious students holding demonstrations outside various colleges in Lahore over the past few days. More than 24 people, including 4 policemen, have been injured in the demonstrations. In Lahore, students gathered outside the Punjab College's campus, where they set fire to the parking area, shattered windows and damaged doors. More than 450 people were named in cases filed over attacking and damaging the campus. The violent demonstrations have moved towards the city of Rawalpindi from Lahore, prompting the police to arrest over 250 individuals. Protesting students ransacked a hostel in the city's Dhoke Gangal area and resorted to stone pelting on a college building. The police used tear gas to control the students after evacuating the teachers and the staff who were trapped in the building. Issuing a strong response against the demonstrations, the Punjab Chief Minister has called the alleged rape fabricated news. She also blamed the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party for spreading what she called fake reports on social media.
Touring the burn unit of a Brussels hospital where Ukrainian soldiers are undergoing treatment, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky offered words of encouragement and handed out state awards. Zelensky has been in Belgium drumming up support among European Union and NATO allies, seeking stronger military aid to rebuff the Russian invasion. He warned that Russia has been receiving its own foreign aid.
From our intelligence, we've got information that North Korea sent technical personnel and officers to Ukraine on temporarily occupied territories, and they are preparing on their land 10,000 soldiers, but they didn't move them already to Ukraine or to Russia.
Zelensky has been selling what he calls his victory plan to end the war in Ukraine. Major points of the plan include permission to use Western-supplied longer-range missiles to strike military targets deep inside Russia, as well as an invitation for Ukraine to join NATO, steps that have been met with reluctance by Kiev's allies so far. Nonetheless, the NATO chief said that eventual Ukrainian accession is inevitable.
I've spoken over the last 3 weeks with all allies. There is absolute unity. We will massively make sure that Ukraine has what it needs to fight the war against Russia. We will continue doing that. And if anyone in the Kremlin will think that by sowing division we will stop this, no, this will not happen. And Ukraine will be member of NATO. There is no doubt about it.
NATO partners have been reluctant to invite Ukraine to join while fighting is ongoing. Ukraine's membership could trigger NATO's collective security guarantee, thus dragging supporting countries into the war with Russia.
Biden heads to Europe later today for high-stakes talks with the leaders of Germany, France, and Britain. The president's visit comes as the wars in the Middle East and Ukraine rage on ahead of November's presidential election, of course. Joining us now from Berlin for more on the president's visit is CBS News White House reporter Willie James Inman. Willie, so much on the president's agenda. I'm wondering what's on the top of the list.
Hey there, Elle. Good morning to you from Berlin. President Biden has no shortage of topics to speak with these world leaders about. He's going to talk with the leaders of Britain, the United Kingdom, I should say, France, and Germany today. When he travels to Germany, he will meet with those leaders on Friday, actually. And one of the things that he will talk about would be the assistance that we've seen go to Ukraine. Just yesterday, President Biden announced some $425 million in military assistance. That's included in that $8 billion that he committed to giving Ukraine through the remainder of his term. That's something that we've seen come up quite a bit. The president, Zelensky, he has been talking with world leaders, including President Biden. They spoke on the phone just yesterday. And it was just last month when President Zelensky traveled to Washington to meet with President Biden to reshore up that commitment that he needs. He needs that military assistance. He needs that financial assistance. And that's what he's been getting from the United States and Germany, of course, which is second in line in terms of giving that assistance to Ukraine. So Ukraine top of mind. I anticipate the Middle East will also be a topic of conversation. A senior administration official told reporters that these leaders are going to talk about a diplomatic way forward in terms of resolving those conflicts between Israel and Hezbollah and Lebanon, as well as the conflict in Gaza, I should say, as well, between Israel and Hamas.
I'm wondering, since Biden only really has about 3 months left in office, if that gives a sense of urgency to these meetings, or is it a challenge for a president that could be described as a lame duck?
Yeah, that's something that has been talked about. We have asked senior administration officials about this. They are careful in terms of how they respond, but that is on the mind of European leaders. Will the U.S. continue to support Ukraine if former President Donald Trump was elected? Of course, that remains to be seen. We haven't seen the election quite yet. That's happening next month, of course. But the president still remaining consistent in saying that he will support Ukraine for as long as it takes. Errol.
All right, Willie, thanks so much.
leader of Hamas is dead, and justice has been served. And the United States, Israel, and the entire world are better off as a result. Sinwar was responsible for the killing of thousands of innocent people, including the victims of October 7 and hostages killed in Gaza. He had American blood on his hands. Today, I can only hope that the families of the victims of Hamas feel a sense and measure of relief. Sinwar was the mastermind of October 7, the deadliest day for the Jewish people since the Holocaust. A terrorist attack that killed 1,200 innocent people and included horrific sexual violence and more than 250 hostages taken into Gaza, including 7 Americans, living and deceased, who remain in captivity. A terrorist attack that triggered a devastating war in Gaza, a war that has led to unconscionable suffering of many innocent Palestinians and greater instability throughout the Middle East. In the past year, American Special Operations and intelligence personnel have worked closely with their Israeli counterparts to locate and track Sinwar and other Hamas leaders. And I commend their work. And I will say, to any terrorist who kills Americans, threatens the American people, or threatens our troops or our interests, know this: we will always bring you to justice.
And the main reason this war has dragged on for more than a year is because the Hamas terrorist, Yahya Sinwar, refused a ceasefire and refused to turn over the hostages. Well, now Sinwar is among at least 5 top Hamas and Hezbollah leaders who have been killed since the war began. For more on the significance of all of this, we're joined by Face the Nation moderator and CBS News chief foreign affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan. So, Margaret, how does this change things? Is it a game changer?
It's potentially a significant opportunity. Nora, for Israelis, this is the equivalent of their Osama bin Laden. And so Prime Minister Netanyahu said today it's not the end of the war, but it may be the beginning of the end. For the better part of a year, Sinwar evaded not just the IDF, but U.S. Intelligence and Joint Special Operations Command, tracking him down in just an area of 25 miles, that is the Gaza Strip. So those Israeli soldiers just stumbled upon him out in the open. Now President Biden is pressing Prime Minister Netanyahu to seize the moment to potentially withdraw troops from Gaza, let food into the starving people there. And he's sending Secretary of State Blinken to the region next week to help work on how to get those hostages released who are still being held by Hamas. It's not clear who will be the next commander. But to be clear here, Nora, Sinwar's dead, but the head of U.S. intelligence warns that the death and destruction from this war will have a generational impact on terrorism.
And what does this mean for that planned Israeli attack against Iran?
Well, U.S. officials still expect an attack by Israel on Iran, but it's not clear how all of this will affect the timing and the calculus. But in recent weeks, as the Israeli Prime Minister said today, they have taken out some of the most notorious leaders of Hamas and Hezbollah, and that is dismantling Iran's terror network in the region.
Margaret Brennan, thank you so much.
اليوم طلع خبر استشهاد السنوار. طبعا لحد اللحظة ما في أي تأكيدات من جانب حماس، وبالنسبة لنا يعني تأكيد حماس هو الخبر اليقين للموضوع. في حال إنه استشهد رحمة الله عليه، أدى الواجب تبعه، مهندس عملية الطوفان الأقصى. الفكرة تبعته مش راح تموت، والشباب موجودين على الخطة تبعته. بالنسبة لحماس استشهد قادتها الكبار من الشيخ أحمد ياسين الرتيس إلى الجعبري إلى العطار، يعني كثير من القائد استشهدوا، لكن حماس لا زالت في الميدان موجودة، حماس لا زالت تقاوم.
حتى لو تم اغتياله تأكد بأن حماس ولادة والثورة الفلسطينية ولادة. سيكون هناك 100 يحيى السنوار في مواجهة هذا الطاغي الإسرائيلي الذي يرغب في إبادة هذا الشعب وتهجيره قسرا عن أراضيه. لن يرحل الشعب، والقائد السنوار بنى منظمة مش في انتهاء أو استشهاد تنتهي هذه المنظمة. القادة ولادين، يحيى السنوار ولد 100 قائد زيه.